Hey, good morning, North Coast Church. My name's Austin Payne, and I'm the Fuel 910 pastor on the Vista campus, coming at you with today's daily dose. We're in Ephesians chapter 5, and one of my favorite passages here. Paul says this. He says, "Wake up, sleeper, rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you. Be very careful then how you live, not as the unwise, but as the wise, making the most of every opportunity because the days are evil. Therefore, do not be foolish, but understand what the Lord's will is. Do not get drunk on wine, which leads to debauchery, but instead be filled with the Spirit." And I love that the beginning of this verse here in chapter 5, verse 14 says, "Wake up, sleeper." And I like that he calls the believer here a sleeper, because when we're sleeping, it's the closest we could possibly look to being dead, right? Where our eyes are closed, we're not moving, our heart rate slows down. And he's calling the believer, the person that has confessed with their mouth that Jesus is Lord and believes that God has raised him from the dead. They're a disciple, they're a follower of Jesus, but they don't look like a follower of Jesus. They're not living like a follower of Jesus. He's saying, "Wake up, sleeper. You are alive, and yet you look like you're sleeping. You look like the non-believer. There's nothing different in your life." And he's coming off of a whole passage here talking about light and darkness and exposing darkness by shedding light on items, and then calls the believer, "Wake up." Don't look even like the non-believer, but wake up, O sleeper, rise from the dead, Christ will shine on you. And then he says, "Be very careful how you live. Don't live as the unwise, but live as the wise. Make the most of every single day, every single opportunity." And here's kind of the hidden gem in here, is that I think sometimes we get tricked into this kind of settling for a lesser life when it comes to following Jesus. And yeah, I made a one-time decision in the past, and it'll impact me one day when I stand before God, and my name's in the book of life, and I get that kind of get out of jail free card. But I think Paul's calling the believer to such a bigger life than that, a dangerous life, a wake up, sleeper, rise from the dead, impact God's kingdom. Let's vanquish darkness with the light that we're offered because of Jesus. And here's the coolest part. He says, don't get drunk on wine, but instead be filled with the Spirit. See, here's the thing about wine, right? If I drink it once, I'm not drunk for the rest of my life. That's not how it works. You get drunk on wine, and then the next day if you drink wine, you get drunk on wine. And he's calling the believer not to a daily life of kind of sleeping and drunkenness and looking like the non-believer, but to be filled with the Spirit. And that word right here, the hidden gem in here, is the Greek behind be filled with the Spirit is plerouste. And this is an active daily filling. Now, in the English, it might read as be filled with the Spirit. That could sound like a one-time be filled with the Spirit. Believe, be baptized, be filled with the Spirit, go on and live your life. But really, behind this word is this activeness of actively, daily be filled with the Spirit. See, 2 Timothy says that we haven't been given a spirit of timidity, but we've been given a spirit of power, of love, of strength, of self-discipline. Galatians 5 says, "Walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh." The desires of the flesh are against the Spirit to keep you from doing what you want to do. See, all throughout Scripture, we're riddled with this understanding that the Spirit is not just a one-time gift and that we get eternity because of Jesus' death and resurrection on the cross, but this is a daily, active living of awake, O sleeper, rise from the dead, Christ will shine on you, vanquish darkness with the light that's offered you, be filled with the Spirit, walk by the Spirit, and let our walks with Jesus be a daily thing. Let this be something that we wake up and ask of, what do you have for me today? Who am I interacting with today? How can I be that shining light in the midst of darkness because I am filled with the Spirit actively, daily? Not just a one-time thing with future ramifications, not just a weekend thing, not just a life group thing, but this is a dailiness to my walk with Jesus. Thanks, North Coast. We'll see you tomorrow.